It happened before they even knew. A single leaked document, a quiet update to the royal tour schedule. Suddenly, the entire nation was aware of something Harry and Meghan weren't. A celebration, one of the biggest the United States had seen in decades, was about to unfold, and their names were nowhere near it. No footnotes, no honorary mentions, not even a whisper of confirmation. For a couple that had once been the future of the royal family, a future they thought would change the monarchy forever, this was the sharpest sting they could have imagined. It wasn't just an absence from a high-profile event. It was the erasure of their place in the narrative they had worked so tirelessly to construct. The absence was a profound statement, not made in words, but in actions, in a deliberate disregard for the image they had built. The shock of it would have hit them hard. To go from being the subject of every conversation, the center of attention, to being utterly forgotten in a matter of moments. For Meghan, the thought that America, the country she thought would stand by her, had already moved on without her. It must have felt like the ground had shifted beneath her. What she thought was her stage had been given to others, and they hadn't even had to ask for it. For Harry, too, the sense of loss would have been profound. This was not just a professional setback, it was a personal affront. They had fought so hard to carve out a new path for themselves, one that stood in contrast to the old stifling traditions of the royal family. And yet, here they were, cut off from the very nation they had imagined would embrace them, a nation that had once seen them as a symbol of change and modernity. Now, it was as if their relevance had evaporated overnight. The royal family, praised for their stability, grace, and diplomatic tact, was preparing for a momentous occasion. The 250th anniversary celebration was a carefully orchestrated event. Diplomats, publicists, and even Hollywood insiders, who once eagerly embraced the couple's brand of glamour and scandal, now breathed a collective sigh of relief. This wasn't just another royal tour. This was an event that promised tradition, respectability, and a reassertion of the royal family's importance. Behind the scenes, conversations that had once been about Harry and Meghan were now about the royals who were still in line for the throne. William and Catherine, poised and dignified, seemed to effortlessly command the attention and admiration of both the public and the media. This event was their moment. They were the ones who now represented the future of the monarchy. A future that Harry and Meghan, for all their efforts, could no longer be a part of. In stark contrast, Harry and Meghan's name had barely crossed the lips of those in power. Their absence wasn't merely a consequence of scheduling, it was the outcome of a larger decision to redefine the monarchy's image without them. The family they had once been a part of, the family they had believed would support their cause, had, in fact, quietly turned its back on them. And yet, in private, there was something even more chilling. The realization that the royal family had no need for them anymore. Their departure, their quest for autonomy, had turned them into a forgotten chapter of royal history. While they were out in the world, attempting to redefine what it meant to be a royal, the rest of the family had quietly shifted the narrative in their absence. And the world, it seemed, had moved on without them. It wasn't just about the missed invitation, it was about what came next. The royal family wasn't just stepping back onto the stage, they were reclaiming their place in the world. And with each announcement, each royal appearance, Harry and Meghan's absence was made more and more glaring. The royal family, with their quiet dignity, wasn't fighting for their space. They were simply taking it. In America, the country Meghan once thought of as her home field advantage, the stage was set for the royals to return, but not the version Harry and Meghan had tried to create. The message was loud and clear. America didn't need the drama. It didn't need the Hollywood version of the royal family. It needed stability, grace, and tradition. And while Harry and Meghan's name had once been synonymous with those ideals, it was no longer. America had chosen a new narrative. It was ironic, really. America, the country where they had hoped to make a fresh start, was now embracing the very institution they had turned their backs on. The royal family, with all their baggage, had seamlessly integrated into the American public's expectations of what a monarchy should be. But Harry and Meghan, their efforts to bring something new to the table, had been met with indifference. It wasn't just that they were being left out, they were being erased. But what stung most wasn't just the exclusion, it was the clarity of it. The clarity of knowing that in a moment of supreme irony, their home, the country they had expected to embrace them, had instead embraced the very institution they had tried to walk away from. The monarchy wasn't waiting for them to catch up. It was moving forward, with or without them. But why? Why this exclusion from an event they thought would be a cornerstone of their reinvention? The whispers started almost immediately. It wasn't about why they weren't invited. It was about why they would ever be. The tone was set, and it couldn't be ignored. The world was moving on without them. It wasn't a personal attack. It was just the natural course of events. The public wanted what the monarchy had always promised: stability, dignity, and the royal family that had stood the test of time. What they didn't want was the circus that Harry and Meghan represented, the one they had built around themselves. But the impact of their exclusion wasn't just the absence of an invitation. It was the realization that they had been replaced, that their brand of royalty, one built on the ideals of change and modernity, no longer held the same appeal. In their absence, the royal family was thriving. William and Catherine's rising popularity, their easy command of the media, and the public's attention underscored the truth Harry and Meghan had been trying to ignore. America, the country they thought would elevate them, had chosen the royal family they had left behind. And this wasn't just a missed opportunity, it was a sign that their narrative was no longer relevant. As the days passed, the reality of their exclusion started to hit even harder. It wasn't just about their absence from the public eye, it was about the way the royal family had seamlessly reclaimed their place. It was about the way William and Catherine were now being hailed as the future of the monarchy, their every move being covered with admiration and respect. And Harry? He was nowhere to be seen. His presence had been reduced to a footnote, a name occasionally mentioned, but nothing more. His efforts to carve out a new identity in America were met with indifference. He was no longer the rebel prince or the darling of the media. He was simply a man who had walked away from the monarchy, only to find himself without a platform. The irony was unbearable. For Meghan, the shift was even more jarring. Once, she had been the epitome of modern royalty, a woman with a clear vision of how she could use her platform to bring change. But now, her name barely made the headlines. Her lifestyle brand, once seen as a way to redefine what it meant to be a royale, felt increasingly irrelevant. Product launches, interviews, public appearances, they all seemed to fall flat. The world that had once embraced her now turned its back. It wasn't just that their presence was no longer desired, it was that they had become invisible. The world had moved on, and they were left behind. The real heart of the matter wasn't the exclusion itself, it was the absence of anger, the indifference that followed their exclusion. It wasn't that America hated them, it was that it didn't need them. In fact, it had never been more clear. Their relevance had evaporated. Meghan's lifestyle promotions, Harry's attempts at speaking engagements, even their private endeavors, they all fell flat. The contrast was unbearable. On one hand, you had the royal family, stepping back onto the world stage with grace, elegance, and poise. On the other, you had Meghan and Harry, who, no matter how hard they tried, were constantly chasing the ghosts of their former selves. Their attempts to stay relevant felt desperate, out of touch with a world that had moved on. Hollywood, once a place where Meghan was greeted as royalty, now seemed to have quietly turned its back. Executives who once rushed to work with her now shrugged off her phone calls. Their initial excitement about her brand had evaporated. What had once been hailed as the future of royal influence was now being seen as just another celebrity venture. And for Harry, the emotional weight of it all must have been crushing. The media that had once covered his every move was now focusing on his brother, William, and his wife, Catherine. The future king and queen were stepping into the spotlight with ease. Harry was no longer just a footnote. He was disappearing. In the very country he believed would support him, Harry was being left behind, his relevance shrinking with every new story about the royal family's growing influence. But the real emotional collapse was yet to come. While Meghan tried to rebrand herself with quiet product launches and appearances that barely made a dent, the world had already decided. Her every attempt to regain the spotlight was met with silence. There was no outrage, no scandal, just indifference. And that, perhaps, was the cruelest twist of all. It wasn't the media storm, it wasn't the public shunning. It was the quiet, suffocating feeling of realizing that no one was waiting for you. The monarchy, for all its faults, had kept moving forward. And Harry and Meghan, they were stuck, watching from the sidelines as their world collapsed around them. It wasn't just Hollywood that turned its back. The public, too, had begun to lose interest. Meghan's lifestyle brand, which she had hoped would redefine her image, was now just another forgotten project. The world wasn't interested in her kitchen products or her quiet interviews. It had moved on, choosing Catherine over her, William over Harry. The contrast between Meghan's vision and the reality of her situation was impossible to ignore. She had promised so much. She had believed she would be the face of a new royal era, one that blended fame with philanthropy, modernity with tradition. But now she found herself overshadowed by the very institution she had once tried to leave behind. So, where does that leave Harry and Meghan? Can they ever reclaim the spotlight they once thought was theirs? Or has the silence become permanent, a marker of their fall from grace? Do you think they can reinvent themselves once more? Or is this the end of their royal dream? Let us know in the comments below. Don't forget to subscribe to stay updated on this ongoing saga. The world is watching, and so are we.